Close your eyes and imagine a world where work-life balance is actually attainable. What do you see? What is your day like? I see myself waking up at 5 in the morning to run a few miles as the sun rises and the world wakes up. I work precisely 8 hours, nose down with no distractions. And by 5 p.m., I've checked everything off my to-do list and have an evening to myself, where I call friends, have family dinner, read a book, teach Yogi to sit, and learn how to paint like Bob Ross. This elusive idea of work-life balance has been in the back of my mind for nearly 10 years, but it's never seemed attainable. So in today's video, I wanted to explore more about this idea of work-life balance. It sounds great on paper, but how realistic is it? And what can I learn from my own mistakes of trying to achieve this in the past? And in these very uncertain times where work and life must coexist, how much can we actually expect of ourselves? You've probably seen this before, that triangle from school where you're supposed to pick two from either good grades or a social life or sleep. From a young age, this triangle set in stone the idea that we can't just do everything. And as we entered the real world, this triangle got simplified to just work and life. But in reality, there must be so much more to it than just that, right? We should probably add things like hobbies, health, relationships, personal growth, sleep, relaxation, learning, and work, whatever that might mean. And if we really look at this chart and examine where we fall in achieving these goals, it would probably look a little something like this. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't look balanced to me. So why is it so hard to achieve this ideal of work-life balance? Well, first, this category of work is quite broad. It could mean your summer job scooping ice cream where you clock in and clock out. It could mean writing your master's thesis till 4 a.m. It could mean running a YouTube channel where your personal life is intertwined with your work. So if just this one category is so loosely defined, how can this arbitrary rule of thumb just work for everyone? And second, we only have 24 hours in a day, 16 of which we're actually awake. And in those 16 hours, we're expected to work, learn, pursue hobbies, cook healthy food, exercise, make time for loved ones, and relax? It's not possible. In fact, this reminds me of one of my favorite Casey Neistat videos of all time, called Fat and Lazy, where he used dominoes to represent how he spends every hour in a day. And listen to what he has to say about time.
Time is the most precious resource for me right now in life. This is the most valuable thing I have, and that's why I'm so protective of my time.
The first lesson here is that this man has to budget every single hour and minute of his life to balance his health, 2 jobs, and family. Because he cares so much about the value of his time, he makes sure that not even 1 minute is wasted, which is really hard. And second, despite his efforts, he still had to make sacrifices somewhere. Casey Neistat's crazy productivity, which played a massive role in the growth of his channel, took a toll. If you look more closely, he only slept 4 hours a day. Sure, that worked for 1 or 2 years, but eventually even Casey got burnt out. And this is so common. The mounting pressure to outperform in our careers leads us to sideline things like sleep and mental health, which inevitably results in burnout. And my own relationship with work-life balance has been quite rocky, especially as both a perfectionist and a procrastinator. Throughout high school, I said no to opportunities like guest lectures and weekend formals in favor of spending just 1 more hour doing homework. But I'd spend that 1 hour falling down a YouTube rabbit hole, leading to instant regret and FOMO. And you'd think I'd learned my lesson by college. But I still spent too many Friday nights studying for Orgo exams and too many lunches eating alone in my room in the name of getting some work done. But once I started my 9 to 5, I was finally able to mentally turn off that work mindset. And finally, work-life balance seemed attainable. But this made me realize that the life part of this equation isn't just watching Netflix during dinner and calling my parents. While I had more free time, I wasn't necessarily fulfilled. Something was still missing. If I were to fill out my chart from before, nearly half the items were neglected. But once I started working for myself, I finally found more wholeness in my routine. And yeah, I initially fell into the same cycle of working way too much and becoming burnt out. But as the weeks passed, I finally started taking time off for myself. And because I didn't have the comfort of a salary to just sit back and chill every day, my time finally became so precious. Just like what Casey was saying. So yeah, I took the time that I needed off. And I spent that time doing things I loved, like taking Yogi to the park, cooking, and watching a movie here and there. Because time became such a scarcity, but I was also finally in control of it, I was getting closer to finding balance in every aspect of my life, not just work. But here's the thing, just as I was getting the hang of things, 2020 came along. And to be honest, work-life balance was hard to achieve even before COVID. Not because we're not good enough, but because the very idea of balancing work and life is flawed. There are so many things that we have going on in our lives that have value, and there's only so much time to address everything. And 2020 just makes that a lot harder, because now there are even more things that are completely out of our control that come in the way of finding this balance. In fact, now work and life are often at odds with each other. And even when we were going to an office or school for an 8-hour day, where in theory it was easier to compartmentalize work and life, it still wasn't attainable. And now that that arbitrary physical barrier between work and life has been shattered, how can we expect ourselves to find a balance between both? Since I've been quarantining at my parents' house and am often disturbed by the incessant barking of our dogs and my dad yelling at the TV, I've had to make peace with the fact that my productivity can't be the same. But here's what I've been doing to make the most of this time while maintaining whatever sanity I have left. So first, I've been constantly modifying my routine and productivity workflow to make it work given the many distractions in my life. I have a set time when I wake up, designated hours where I put on my headphones and close my door to work, and I use exercise in the morning and evening as anchors to my day. While I don't always stick to my routine, it is something that's very predictable and consistent, which is quite comforting to me. And since I am stuck at home, like many others, I've been exploring new hobbies and finally checking things off my bucket list. I became a little too comfortable with baking, took some dance classes, started learning digital art, and am now exploring new ways to work out. Instead of just hating 2020 and everything that it has brought, I'm trying to tell myself to make the most of this time that I have at home and that I have with my family. Generally, I've just tried to adjust my mindset and expectations of myself to give myself some more wiggle room. Initially, I was so frustrated that I wasn't getting as much done at home as I was before, that it was harder to film my videos or eat healthy or wake up in time. But as time has passed, I've come to terms with this new reality and am telling myself to embrace the fact that right now, no one can really be perfect. So there's no point in dragging myself down for every mishap that I make. And yeah, that's it for today's video. I also want to check in and just see how you guys are doing. How have you been coping with quarantine over these past few months? And what are you the most proud of yourself for achieving during this time? There's no wrong answer, so just let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this video, please give it a big like and subscribe. And oh yeah, don't forget to follow me on social media if you haven't already. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.